Good morning. This is my first video for today, which is April 14th, 2021. And as you can see from the very top, I have the date here, and this is graphing what's called f of x equals a times x squared. Remember that f of x can also be written as just y. So y equals, like you see it down below. I put it as y. This is Chapter 8, Section 1. So while I'm doing this, if at any point during a video you'd like to stop it to write stuff down, please go ahead and do that. And that way I don't have to put in times in the video where I'm just waiting for you to write something down. So I have some terms here that I'd like to go over. And remember, pause it when you want to write things down. First off, what is a quadratic function? So for now, think of it as a non-linear, so it's a function that does not make a line, and it can be written as y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, you might be wondering, like, well, where's the bx and the c? But today we are focusing on what happens with the a. What does that do to the graph? And so basically b and c are both equal to 0. The next thing, parabola, that is the name of the U-shaped graph that is made from this quadratic function. The vertex, and you're going to see some examples of those, is the lowest point of a parabola if it's opening up, or if it's upside down, it would be the highest point of a parabola that's opening down. And then finally at the very bottom here, you see axis of symmetry. Now that is a vertical line that divides the parabola into two symmetric parts. It also is going to go right through the vertex. All right, next up, I'm going to go ahead and so I'll do this first. Right here. So scrolling on down there, it says identifying characteristics. This is part 1 today, where it says we're identifying characteristics of a quadratic function. So you notice on the left side here, this is like, I guess your book refers to this as the behavior of the parabola. So from left to right, it's decreasing on the left as it's going down, 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 until it hits the bottom point, which is the vertex, and then it starts going up. So it's increasing on the right side. Now that point where it stops going down and changes direction, that is where the vertex is. On this particular graph, it's right at the origin. So its coordinates would be 0, 0. Now the axis of symmetry, it's right on top of the y-axis here, but it would be a straight up and down line. Usually we used a dashed line for that. And on this one, it would be x is equal to 0. That's the equation of a vertical line. X equals a number, and the number tells you where it is. Since it's going through the vertex, it has the same x value as the x part of the vertex. Remember, the vertex is 0, 0. Now you can also identify what the possible domain is, which is the x values, and also the range, which are your y values. All right, and I think on this part I wanted to just draw in a couple more things here. So you can see this is the sheet we just looked at, and I'm going to go ahead and try to do a couple things here. So I'll go in black here. So the vertex, once again, that would be 0, 0, and the axis of symmetry would be x is equal to 0. And that's this dashed line that's going up and down through there. All right. Now, the domain and range, well, I guess I can do that one on this particular one, but we'll talk a bit more in just a second. The domain of this one is what could the x's be? And the domain for this, and really all the ones we're going to do, will always be all real numbers. Okay? Because even though it's going mostly up, it is going out as well. So it's going to eventually cover all the x's to the right and left. But the y's are a different story. That's how much up and down it is on the graph. So it's always going to be y. It's about y. This is going up. So all the values of y, which means all the points on this parabola, have to be greater than or equal to its lowest point. Now its lowest point would be right there. It's 0. So this one, the range or possible values for the y's is going to be y is greater than or equal to 0. Okay? Remember, pause whenever you need to so I don't have to keep doing that. I'm going to go ahead and scroll this down a little bit more. And I'm going to do another screenshot. So I can do some stuff here, and I'll just make it just like that one. Okay, and that works. Okay, so here we have another graph. Okay, so this would be your example. Think of it that way here. So this would be your example. Okay, so it says identify the characteristics of this quadratic function and its graph. Well, the basic stuff you're going to want to do for sure is going to be things like identifying the vertex. So right there is going to be your vertex on the bottom. So take a look at these numbers though. Since that's an 8, they're not counting by 1s. They are counting by 2s. So this would be a 2, this would be a 4, this would be a 6. So this is 2 to the right, and then it's also going by 2's going down. So the vertex is at positive 2 comma negative 4. Then I have to figure out what the axis of symmetry is. I'll do that in a red line, and I'm going to try to do a dashed line as soon as I find my thing again. There it is. Whoops. It's really hard to do a vertical line with my technology here. Okay, but that is your axis of symmetry, and it would be x is equal to 2. So that's my axis of symmetry. And then down below, that was my vertex. I'm going to go ahead and label that. Okay, so that's my vertex. Now on the right side, there's some other things that you could identify. So domain is going to be, just like I said, all of these is going to be all real numbers for your domain. So whenever it asks you that, you'd say all real numbers. For the range, on this one, because it's been lowered, the lowest point is negative 4. So y is got to be greater than or equal to negative 4. Now there's some other stuff that you can do, and it's going to ask you about on the assignment here, so we do have to go over it. So, and that's this part right here. Let me go ahead. I'm just going to kind of highlight it. So this part, I'll talk about that one first. Okay, so it says when x is less than 2, so that's going to be on this left side over here. Okay, the left side of the graph. So on that side of the graph, y is increasing. It wants to know what x is doing. Okay, so basically, it is increasing going right to left, so that means x's are decreasing. So that's why one of these says y is increasing, and then x is decreasing. Now if I go the other way around, I'm going to take away some of this stuff. Okay, and then now I'm going to talk about the other side. Put all this in right here. So that's this part over here. So on that side, notice as y is going up right through here, x is also going to the right, which means increases. So that's what's meant by that. So that is my first section here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this first video clip.